What's going on, Chiefs Kingdom? This is Daniel Harms of the RGR Football Channel, film analyst, and today we have another film review. This is going to be my last draft-focused, draft-centric, if you will, film review for you for the 2022 NFL Draft. Bryan Cook is on the schedule today, and we're going to get into his metrics, his profile, what he does on the field that's really going to exemplify himself in this Kansas City defense. But before we do that, make sure that you hit that like, hit the bell, and that sub, and bell notification so that you can get everything that's on this RGR channel that drops every single day of every single week. And also that like helps us out so much, getting us out to the greater Chiefs Kingdom, as we all want to grow as a channel and get everyone the best information as possible. So without any further ado, let's get into the topic today. Bryan Cook, again, out of Cincinnati, a safety, played all over the place for them in the box as a single high, a two high. He can do all in that regard as a true safety. Jack of all trades, if you will. It really is their replacement for Daniel Sorensen, in my opinion. He's 6'1" and 206 pounds, about 32-inch arms, nearly. He actually got really small hands, 8.5-inch hands, not something you would see especially from a guy that played receiver, but maybe that's why they transitioned him to safety. He didn't have those hands to keep catching the ball. So definitely a guy who is going to make his name in Kansas City as a third safety. The role that he was drafted for in the second round, a little bit higher than I anticipated for a guy who didn't have all of the accolades you'd want to. But again, they're looking for playmakers that can fit a specific mold. They can do a lot of different things as a secondary member, as a safety member, but can also contribute in multiple different ways inside the box in the run game, and against some tight ends, some running backs, some things that he can do as well. He's not the fastest guy in the world. He didn't have any of his pro day. He didn't compete at the combine. He was nursing a shoulder injury, but on his tape, he is very much a go after the run, be used in the box, but can play downfield as a coverage guy against some bigger tight ends, which is things you like to see. But his last season, really his only starting season at Cincinnati, he played in 14 games and had 57 solo tackles, 96 combined, so he was all over the place, in on a lot of different plays. He had 5 tackles for loss, 1 sack, and only 2 interceptions. They don't blitz him a whole lot, and he's not the best coverage guy. Like, that's pretty much why they made him when I say he's not the best coverage guy, I mean in terms of ball production. He's not the best catcher of the football. He's really more of an instinctual player, and we're going to get into that here in a second. So let's go ahead and jump into the film, because the biggest thing that we see with Bryan Cook is what Kansas City set out to do in this last draft, and that's be a much more physically dominating team. They want people that are just going to lay the lumber. And this doesn't have anything to do with him making a play. This is how he addresses a wide receiver who's not looking. Like, that's what I like to see. You're going to come in, he's going to try to block you, at least in some way, shape, or form. Hit him. Just hit him. Like, he's going to come at this wide receiver, boom, keep your head up, or you're going to get hit. And I like that he's able to do that, and that he can do that and wants to be a contributor in any way that he can, hitting people. Like, this defense desperately needs guys that are going to come downhill and deliver some blows every now and then. He's going to be a factor in that as a third safety, but again, a guy who can definitely come in and contribute more on a rest basis, that when you need to give maybe Juan Thornhill a breather, or Justin Reed a breather, excuse me. Again, coming down in the run game, this is a good job of him kind of seeing the running back, the vision he has, seeing it coming out of the backfield. This is just going to be, the center is going to come off to the side here and try and block up Bryan Cook as he comes down. Running back's going to try and follow off tackle or off the block from him. But he's going to be patient. Again, patience. And then we see the coil. Something that smaller, more athletic guys can do is be a little bit more of a coil, and then they spring, and then he also just manages to slip off of that center right there into the tackle for the running back. Things you really like to see on tape for guys that need to contribute in the run game. We've seen the Chiefs bring in guys like Charvarius Ward, L'Jarius Sneed, who improved a lot last year in his open field tackling ability, but guys that are not afraid to get involved in the run game, and they want safeties that can do that. I think we saw a little bit last year, Juan Thornhill not be the most active player in the run game. He had some where he was able to get downhill, but he had some missed tackles as well. I think that they're definitely trying to create a more fluid-based defense that has safeties that can rotate in and out, can come down in the run game and really be more of a force, because if we're being honest, the run defense over the last couple of years has been atrocious. Getting into the second and third levels of the defense was very easy for running backs, and Bryan Cook is going to offer a little bit of a versatility kick where he can come down inside that box, can find ways to get off of tackles. If he gets squared up by an offensive lineman, that's where he's going to find his troubles. Doesn't have the longest arms, doesn't have the biggest hands, doesn't have the best technique. So he's going to have to find ways to contribute in other realms to really be a type of safety that can come down all the time and be in the box. Just learn better technique, which I think he can do and he will do. One of the big things that I liked about his tape is that he seems to be very focused on his job. That's something that you need in the NFL and the Chiefs need in this defense, because if we watch what this whole play is, it's just a play action off of a jet sweep, which everyone's moving in this direction. We have this guy moving this way. You're going to have the quarterback roll out to the left of your screen as well. Offensive line kind of goes this way. And then you have this running back who's off center, but he's in the backfield more as an H-back type of role. He's going to try to sneak out to the left side of the offensive formation. But we know that Bryan Cook does a really good job here of seeing. He has a really good vision. He understands his role in the defense, his backside responsibilities. As everything's going play side and front side, we see this guy kind of sneak out. They want to set up a little reverse almost type of screen where they get these guys out here blocking when you have defenses moving in this direction. Again, even the deep safeties coming down here. We have just about every other defensive member coming at where they're going intentionally, on purpose. They try to get a little bit leaker, and Bryan Cook says, no thank you, and he tackles him. Not only tackles him, but lifts him to the ground. Perfect execution of that tackle. Get your shoulder inside the hip or the side area. Lift that running back up and into the ground. What I love to see from a safety. Whoop! Boom. Execute it. I love it. I love seeing tackles like that. He's going to make some hits in the NFL and be a very big contributor to a more physical Chiefs defense that we're going to see going forward. Really, really love that. My dog really loves it too. She thinks it's great. But again, we have Bryan Cook being more of a coverage guy here. Sorry for the little pixelated nonsense. But he's not just, like I said, he's not just a downhill guy. He's not going to be a true deep safety. He'll never be that guy. He can definitely give you some of those reps if you're going to blitz. Say you're going to blitz down below and trying to get extra pressure on the quarterback early to make a decision. He can play a little bit of that single high if you want him to. But he's best as a zone defender somewhere as a two deep safety or in this area. He really does like to patrol the intermediate parts of the field. So he's got a lot of different aspects to his game, but like I said, the vision that he has, he sees the field pretty well. And this team here, they do a really good job of just having the tight end go up the seam, try to get this part of the field wide open. He recognizes it, comes in, delivers a hit right at the catch point. That's right what you need from a guy who's going to be making hits in coverage, in zone coverage. Find the shoulder, put it in where that catch point is going to be. That football is located just inside, because as the safety's coming down here, the quarterback understands that I have a small window where I can get this ball. So I have a safety coming here. I need to hide it away from him and hopefully sneak it in between this guy, who's the safety who's coming over to hit him. But instead he jars it because he does a good job of breaking on and recognizing the quarterback's going to that tight end down the seam. So again, recognition, knowing his role in the defense and understanding that role in the defense, boom, breaking on the throw pretty much as it happens right there. Delivers that shoulder into the chest and the stomach area of the tight end. Cannot hang on to it. He's going to have to be making these plays all over the field for Kansas City next year, and I believe he will. Right here. Bryan Cook, again, can play a little bit of single high. Definitely going to be best as what I mentioned. If you're going to blitz or if you're going to be more in the red zone, he's got a much more instructive possibility to his skill set. He can rotate out last minute. That's something I saw Cincinnati do a lot as well with Kansas City, that likes to rotate their safeties down, in, around, up. They do all that kind of stuff as a robber. He can play that as well. It can come from a single high down and cover guys over the middle of the field, be that extra defender against these throws right there, especially because he can come downhill as we just saw and make a play on the catch point. Those are all very important in this defense. So being able to rotate understand where you need to be on the field is going to be very, very important in Steve Spagnuolo's defense as a safety. We saw Kendall Fuller be a huge piece of the puzzle for them winning that Super Bowl, and I think that they see that same kind of ability, a guy who can have some pretty good hip flexion and change of direction, be kind of like a corner, but a third safety as well. And I really like that possibility for him in this defense. Again, he's not just a guy who's going to play off the ball. He's going to play everywhere, and he can carry tight ends. This is what I'm talking about. No, Notre Dame is known for having the more athletic, big tight ends. They always seem to produce them into the NFL, and Kyle Rudolph really comes to your mind when you think of Notre Dame tight ends. And Cook does a really good job here of playing at the line of scrimmage with this tight end coming off the offensive line, plays him, change of direction really well. He kind of felt this other receiver and gets right around him, and he stays with him. Boom, starts tracking the football right there. Track the football, keep that outside hand on the tight end, but then also track and keep your outside hand free to be able to make a play on the ball. It does hit his arm a little bit. It's hard to really see on this. I can't zoom in, but again, really excellent job of understanding, feeling what the tight end's trying to do, makes a play on the football. That catch doesn't happen because he's in excellent position and he can track and he can see. A lot of really, really nice things on film. He does a really excellent job in short zone coverages as well, like where he's in back here as a safety coming across the field, breaking up a pass. One of his only interceptions. So he's all the way over here. He's going to be playing the tight end to come all the way across. Because he's not the fastest guy, but when you're smart and you can play within your strengths and you can kind of sift through the defense and the offense at the same time, you can have these intervals and really know that you got to be able to get through where you're coming, and you can see the field very well. Again, really excellent job of playing that football, seeing it and breaking back to it for the interception from Bryan Cook. Really, really excellent player who I think is going to fit in a really intricate part of this defense. He can do a lot of different things, and we've seen multiple things just in this film review alone, in the run defense, in the passing game, coming down against the run and being in the box, being as a single high, being a little bit more of as a two high safety. He can really do it all, and that's the biggest thing that I took away from his film, that he might not be the best player at any one thing, but he's really good at a lot of different things. And in that Cincinnati defense, understanding your role, knowing the playbook inside and out, and just being a smart player paid dividends for them in the last 3 to 4 years. Obviously, they were in the bid for the national championship last year, having to play Alabama. Their defense was really solid up until the very last. They just got ran over a ton because their front was not as stout as Alabama's offensive line. But schematically and understanding the role of that defense, Bryan Cook fits perfectly into what Steve Spagnuolo wants to do. He wants to rotate those safeties in and out. He wants them to fill in the run game, to be able to not necessarily be a body type liability. As Tyrann Mathieu, we know, was a very gifted player who would not be afraid to come downhill. Physically, the limitations that his body provided were just that. There's not much you can do about that. And Dan Sorensen was a liability in coverage, but he wanted to come downhill and get inside and really be a guy near the line of scrimmage. He had that more bigger body, that frame to do that. Bryan Cook offers you a little bit of a tweener in between those guys, who is a much better coverage player, especially because he's younger, more athletic than Dan Sorensen is now, and he has a bigger ability to get downhill in the run game and be used as a robber type player. Come downhill and play, run, give you some big hits to help boost the morale of the defense. Big hits give everybody a bit of a high. It gives the fans a high. We love to see that. Bryan Cook is going to inject some youth. He's going to inject some big hitting ability and some tight end and running back coverage ability out of the backfield for them as well. So I'm a much bigger fan of the pick than I was originally. I didn't know much about him. I had him more of as an end of the third round guy, but I understand why the Chiefs went ahead and picked him where they did. The role that he's going to play in this defense is going to be very valuable, and it's going to pay extreme dividends for them down the road. I hope you guys enjoyed this film review. If you please make sure to hit that like and the bell and the sub notification. I did it again. The like and the bell and the sub. That way you guys get everything that we do, and we continue to help get more information, more content out to the rest of Chiefs Kingdom. Make sure you guys tune in tomorrow for Chief in the North with Ryan and Seth. Maybe I'll make a guest appearance. We don't really know yet. Those were a lot of fun. I'm hoping to do more in the future with the three of us. It was really, really a lot of fun. And then the rest of everything that we do next week, we're going to have back to real Chiefs film review. So I'm looking forward to that. I hope you guys are too. Please have yourselves a great day.
Thanks for watching this video from the team at RGR Football. Click these videos to see more and subscribe to RGR Football.